Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you frustrated by your focus in games being fractured by poor technology and a style that goes back to the 80s even if you were born in the 90s? Then look no further than ACG Slather Junk. That's right, a new line ACG products that are guaranteed to improve your hip thrust, hip fire, and sniper headshotting kills. Where all other imitators just buy something from a company and have a sticker just thrown on it so they can sell you merchandise, which really only results in you walking around with their head near your tits. Not ACG, baby, no way. These are handcrafted by the skilled five-fingered mittens of yours truly, put together with an aim to increase your juice. Look at these headphones, spray painted with ACG right on their side, and you can't tell me that won't raise your game, elevate your heart rate, and make you the best high-test, low-rest motherfucker on the planet. We've got everything: jugs, mugs, skirts, shirts, burkas, guns, cars, headphones, webcams, earbuds, ear cams, face tattoos, and genital piercings. It's all there. Like I said, this isn't just the normal item pulled from the shelves like all other creators out there and then slathered with their name. These are made from genuine angel dust, and not the snortable kind, but the kind you get when you grab an angel and wring its body free of its magical powers that slowly dies to light the frozen fires of excellence in all our products. ACG Slathered Junk. I take care of you when no one else will. All the shit total BS, and like all other creators, it's not better than normal marketed brands, but buy my shit, please. In a world where first-person shooters are relegated to been there, done that status, a new contender has arrived. Today we announce Call of Carrick 2, the Karakanine Limited Unlimited Collector's Ultimate Exclusive We Ran Out of Fancy Shit Names Edition. Where other video game editions just give you a couple items, we here at Crack Design Incorporated Productions want to reward you, the gamer. Now we have marketing data that proves that all the other shit you get matters more to you guys than the game. So when you buy for a limited but ultimately unlimited time and purchase the Unlimited Collector's Limited Edition, you get DLC that'll be sold later in a complete package, a gun painted like a giraffe, a gun painted like you would probably paint it, a deck of completely unrelated and all-way playing cards, a specially designed Zika-sized mask guaranteed to fit no one, and lastly, get access to the PC version early so you can beta test that bitch for us. But most importantly, for a completely unlimited time to make you feel like you need to rush out and get it, we have an oversized, completely ridiculous statue lit up with Christmas tree lights that we won't tell you how much it costs us to make, but you can bet some kid in China's pounding these out 20 a day while high-fiving a statue of Xi Jinping on his way out every morning. And to close this off, here's a list of bullet points that we needlessly make look like they are all in the special editions, but are actually just in the game. The game. A manual, like that's somehow special. An explanation of the modes right here because it's got numbers in it. It'll make you think there's more going on. And lastly, multiple times where we can use the word epic and massive to make sure that you feel like you're going into a Michael Bay movie. So buy now and join the epic, interconnected, massive, scorching, huge, big word, interactive, open, but really hub world gameplay experience. This is somehow already being claimed as a classic and instant hit and amazing by websites that haven't even fucking played it yet. So join us September never. Disclaimer, also not on early access services because we're shit with promises. And today, a special thanks to our new sponsor. Have you ever wanted to be a part of nerd culture but didn't have the money to jump into the newest graphics cards, expensive figurines, or YouTubers trying to sell you on 3D printing at home where they get a cut? Well, look no further. A company's found the perfect middle ground for people with just enough money to spend, but not enough to do anything useful with. Carrick Crate, where you get a new crate of random Carrick items every single month. Each month, a different box arrives at your door. Spatulas, used socks, my slightly bent and beat up cheese grater, or a cat. That's right, for only $14.99 per month, twice a month, you get a small crate sent to your house, just absolutely stock full of useless bullshit. Each pack is created to make sure that you get at least 4 rare items as well as 4 items that you won't have any fucking clue what to do with. Now, just some of the amazing things that you can get in your new Carrot Crate: a pair of bloody scissors, used facial scrubber, 1/2 of a well-worn jockstrap, and the last ball of lint that my cat coughed up. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't find a better deal for something to make you feel like you're wasting your cash on crap anywhere else. And these items are nice enough to display proudly around your home as a member of the Carrick Crate. Each comes with a stand made of genuine bullshit. The same bullshit anyone is trying to prattle to you like you're a rot-lipped gate mouth whenever they want you to pay for a mystery crate filled with useless shit just like this. So again, try Carrot Crate. For just $21.99 per month, 4 times a month, each month, twice a month, you can get an amazing crate filled with stuff that you will have no fucking idea what to do with. Carrick Crate, where strange comes. Why should you join the ACG YouTube membership? Listen, it helps channel. Sure, I could pretend that some company's pre-built PC is awesome, even if it just accidentally happens to be that I got it from them in the last 3 weeks. You don't want that. I could also open up an OnlyFans, which just me naked eating Uncrustables and rubbing my beard against the mic. No one wants that either, because it'd be terrifying. For $5, you can become a YouTube member. I'd probably save you that by warning you away from Alakine's gun, or maybe Gene Rain, or maybe you watch the reviews. I don't know why, because they suck, but maybe you do. If you join now, we don't have to worry about those things. You also get access to the Patreon when it comes to the Discord. So become a YouTube member now, before I start having to put surprise oral sex looking thumbnails on my reviews. And trust me, No one else wants that. So power up with ACG. Besides, it's for sure better than those POS earbuds YouTubers try to sell you. I opened this up to nothing but just the box of black with the overhead lines. What's up, everybody? This is Carrick with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny. We're doing the best gaming podcast number 588. That's it. Have a good one. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Super chats are appreciated. Dude, that's how tired I am.
We're done. Instantly.
We're done. We're fucking done. We're done. Yeah, I am tired, man. Hopefully I can make it through this. I mean, I don't know. Whenever anybody says that, what do you think would happen if they couldn't make it through? Like when they say, hopefully I made it through. Isn't that a call? Isn't that a signal to like get some chats or something? I hope I make it through. It's like, what do you think you're going to die?
I think partly yes, but once you get going, it's just like, you know, going to the gym.
Why would you say it though? Like, what are you going to do?
Because that's your feeling in the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, are you going to die during a YouTube chat? You're going to like just die? Is it going to be that hard?
But you're like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. But then you kind of start doing it. You get going.
Johnny, I don't know if I can do it. I can make it. I can make it. We'll make it.
You're like Kate Winslet in the Titanic. No, sorry. You're Leo DiCaprio in the water.
I'd be Leo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, you know, there's enough room. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like both fit.
Yeah, both had,
you know, they would both fit on the on the board.
Dude, I'd cut her open and sleep inside of her like a fucking tauntaun to live. I'd grease her. I would, right there. I'd be like, you got to go, because no one's going to be able to tell you killed her. I already banged her. That part's done. You already painted her. You already like beat up her boyfriend. You stole her from her boyfriend. Your story arc is over. You need to go on to the sequel. Leonardo DiCaprio lives through the Titanic and bangs everybody as a hero story. That would be your sequel. So yeah, I'd cut her open. I'd sleep inside of her body, and then I'd just slide it off with my foot into the ice and water later on. Be like, she was cut up by a propeller, man. Sad, you know? She wasn't that nice of a person anyway. I mean, she picked that.
Not really when you think about it.
Yeah, that guy was a stroker that she was with the first time. I mean, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, we already did the opening. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. There's actually some pretty cool news this week. We'll go down the list on some of the stuff we're going to talk about. Nintendo has decided, thankfully, to raise the price of the Switch 2, which I think is really cool. They apologized to gamers for that impact, but I think that apology is definitely enough, and we should all pay more. So I've got my second Switch 2 in line, yeah. Let's see. Bungie caused a $765 million impairment loss to PlayStation. I think impairment is like you have success, and then you are impaired. You know, you slowly lose your hearing. But I guess a hearing impaired is blind, right, or is deaf right at the starting. But I don't know. I feel like they should have known, is what I was saying. Like, if you go back and look at what everybody said who's ever worked with Bungie, it's basically like, these guys are herpes. Feels good to get it, but it doesn't feel good to have it. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Dude, I'm telling you, the pattern is with Bungie, it feels good to get it. It sucks to have. I'm just saying, that's what it is. Valve realized that the year's 2026 and there's such a thing as a fucking reservation program, suspiciously after they were able to bloat their numbers with their inability to do their own reservation program. This is a company that's either inept as fuck or just scammed everybody, because there's no way around it. They know what a reservation program is, right? They've done reservations before. So they either tried to scam you, or they're incompetent as fuck as a company. You should never trust them again. They didn't even figure out how to do a reservation system. Come on. We know what they were doing. They were upselling their piece of shit controller, and they were trying to get the scalpers to end up being like, look how cool this system is. Dude, they're such a player of the game. People like to pretend that they're not, but they are. They're like the chick in Kingdom Come 2 you bang, and she seems all innocent. When you go back and talk to her, she tells you you're not as good as everybody else. And you're like,
damn.
Yeah. She is that. Let's see.
Yeah, I saw some crazy prices for the controller. Some people paying like $300.
Yeah, complete scam. Average console hardware price has moved from $250 in 2019 to $500 plus as of today. So in 6 years, it's doubled.
Damn.
Would you rather have the price of the console double or the price of the games go double? No, let's say the games go to 80. I'd say the average price turns to 80, or The single one-time purchase is doubled of a console.
I think still the single-time purchase.
Me too.
Because just like PC, I feel good about the purchase, even though it was expensive. It kind of over the very long run pays off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it sucks, but I would rather pay a little bit more up front. Might make me think about buying your system a little bit harder before I do it. But when I do, I would have more of an investment because that's how humans work. Have a little bit of investment in that purchase, and then those games, which I buy more of. Because I think a person who pays 60 once has a slightly less friction to get 60 again, but a person who pays 80 once has a reservation or at least a friction to even spending 40 again. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, it's almost like you have a high cooldown.
Yes,
it's
absolutely right.
That
you got your normal attack and you have your area of
your ultimate
attack. That's the same attack, but it does more, but its cooldown is much longer. Yeah, it's so true, man. So true. Let's see. Hope everybody's doing well. I'd like to know what games you guys are playing. If you are playing anything, that'd be great. I saw some people playing Saros, which sold like shit, like utter damnation, man. Really surprising. Not surprising because we brought this up before the sales were announced that nobody was talking about it at all. And it felt very weird that like no one was really discussing it. And then to see that like it really had done poorly. Sad because it's a good game. I enjoyed it, or have enjoyed most of it.
Yeah, a lot of positive reviews, very positive.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about I think we're headed for not headed. We've talked about it before, but I think there's going to be a lot of changes in how like people react to reviews, people react to anybody else's reaction. I think humans are reacted out. Meaning we all know the game of reactions of any kind, whether it be reviews, whether it be watching a YouTube channel and watching somebody else's channel and using it for your content. It feels like there's so much now that like nothing matters anymore, like just nothing matters. So, but sad to see that do poorly. Hopefully that means nothing for them in some way, but it definitely, I think they were saying it's on track for like one less than 1/3 of the numbers of Returnal, but we'll have to see.
That's surprising too, because Returnal, new IP, kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
later on it became a really acclaimed game, but it wasn't like the biggest hit early on.
Well, I mean, who knows? Like, it's hard, especially when you look at pre-orders these days. I mean, do pre-orders mean how many people get a pre? Let's say how many people get a pre. Let's say your game's available. Like this was available for pre-order. You buy the game for pre-order. Does that mean you're going to hold on to it? Probably. Wish list, no. Right? Wish list, no. But I think there's so many ways to get a game now, and like Returnal, yes, it was the original, so maybe it didn't have as much heat in the known, like what it's known for. But in a way, I think it handled the story a lot better. And I think a lot of people, there was like a lot of really cool Cthulhu style stuff. And this one was more demons. And there might, for a lot of people who don't know Cthulhu, you might think they're identical. They are not identical. Demons and Cthulhu are not, way different vibe. Yeah, way different vibe. Yeah, that's like assuming like hard rock and death metal are going to be the same when you go to a concert, right? They might both have two guitars, but it's going to be weird. Let's see. What do we got? PS5 games are 80 in my country. Damn. That's too bad. Damn. Gabe knows how to make a reservation for a yacht. Yeah, no shit. Nintendo should have been raised the price. Maskanarov says Nintendo should have been raised the price. Such a small company needs it. I think that's two sentences. I think that's two comments as one or something.
Yeah, something happened there.
Something happened there.
Syntax.
Starla says, how dare you insult my Raycons? I bought some, so I made them my entire personality as a result of some cost. Oh, you're responding to the to the video at the starting. Yeah, as you guys can tell, I said it was almost a year and a half ago now. I'm just That's not me, man. If I don't like something, I'm just gonna tell you I don't care. Like that kind of stuff pisses me off. Like every 4 or 5 weeks there's some new thing. Huel was the big one. Huel, I don't even eat. I don't even shit. I just drink this small jug of Huel and everything I need. My children pop out of my wife with no labor. And you're just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Everything is so commodity now. Like it's just,
yeah.
And then people become so accustomed to it that you can be like, oh, guys, I got this. I got flown out to a special place, got a series of substantially increasing in magnitude blowjobs for 3 weeks. And I'll be reviewing this game, but in no way, shape, or form did the ever escalator of fellatio in any way, shape, or form
impact
change.
Me in any
or
way.
Impact me in, yeah. I'm going to get my bag, and that doesn't mean I'm bad. No, that means exactly what it is. Otherwise, we wouldn't have entire goddamn laws based around it. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I love the idea of increasing intensities of fellatio, just getting you to the peak influence.
Dude, 1 to 10, man. You don't know. Like that could, by the time that 10 comes up, you're like, I'll do anything. Just stop. I'm dehydrated. And then you sell more of the Huel. So you get to 10, and then you need the Huel, and it's just this never-ending cycle, right? So there you go.
Makes sense.
Marcus, Nintendo fan, says, with Nintendo bumping the price of the Switch 2 to $499.99 in the U.S., are we officially past the point where Nintendo hardware feels like the affordable console option? No, because it's more affordable, right? It's still more affordable than the other two.
Yeah.
But if you look at history, what's affordable mean?
I think, is Xbox now the most affordable one?
Oh, yeah, Series S.
The
Series S. Yeah, Series S. Yeah. You are right, man.
Yeah,
you are
Series
right.
S.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy Friday, you two. That's either Joe Sayahu or Jose. Jose Josiah. It's either Joe or it's Josiah Yahweh. no clue how to pronounce that one. Jabroni is playing some Diablo 4. Yeah, not buying Sorrow's full price after Returnal. I liked you didn't like Returnal? That's fair. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Yeah, it's not the most affordable, right? Switch or Series S is.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about Saros. Right there.
Oh, no, apologize. No, I was talking about the ever escalating series of blowjobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on from there, as you can tell, I have no filter. I'm really tired. So there's a high chance that I'm going to get arrested. Let's see. Let's move on from there. What else do we got for news? Bungie. Let's talk about this. So Sony did a bunch of financial stuff. They talked about a bunch of shit, which we'll get to today. A lot of it doesn't matter much unless you're some fucking, YouTuber with like a goddamn PlayStation fetish or something creepy like that. But Bungie caused $765 million impairment loss for PlayStation. So diving into it more, Marathon and Destiny developer Bungie underperformed all of last year, which basically hit Sony's books finally this year. Other than, like I said, being the developer version of herpes, what's your takeaway? What do you think when I say this?
My instant reaction is that we're looking at it with a very short horizon, and I think Sony views it as more of like a long-term investment that certainly hasn't paid off yet. But they kind of have a vision of what they want to do with it. At least that's maybe the hopeful version of that, is that they kind of have a vision of where they want to go, and they're not there yet. It's not really paid off yet, but it's going to kind of build into something with time.
So do you think maybe that made more sense 2 years ago when they had got it versus 2 years into it and it still hasn't turned into anything?
Now that you put it in numbers, yes. I think
Sorry.
I think I was way too charitable.
You were, but I get no, man, I get where you're coming from. Like there's a thought process. You buy you pay more for a top star, right? They're going to jump on your basketball team, but it might take them a year to pick up your game plan. That makes sense.
Yeah, but year 2 you expect some solid returns, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just been, issue after issue, whether it be with the major game, whether it be with this, whether it be their inability to assist other devs with making live games. But I get where you're coming from. Yeah, it's almost $1 billion. Is all I'm saying, though.
Damn.
And if you pay $1 billion and you lose another almost $1 billion, and they paid many billion, at some point, don't you go, that's too many billions?
It's still a better investment than Meta with VR.
Yeah, that's for sure.
By 20 or 30x.
20 or 30x, yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing the super long game. Yeah, I have no clue.
Right.
I think it's very cool that the game Marathon, they tried to sort of massage the numbers yesterday, which was at first when you read the numbers, you're like, oh, this doesn't sound so bad with Bungie. And then you realize they're talking about the people who got it happiness with the game. They were like, there's a lot of happiness around this. And I guess at first when you read it, the way it was written for PR stuff, it sounded like a bunch of people bought it. But that isn't what it was. It was that the people who have bought it are still playing it, or there's a high retention rate. But the actual overall numbers are still
that is a good signal.
Low. Yeah, it's a good signal for the 11 people playing, for sure. I'm just joking. It's not 11. But yeah. Yeah, but the numbers are low. I mean,
are low. Yeah.
Any way you slice it, you look at the concurrence, which I hate talking about, but it's it's a live game. It's different than, we don't even need to bring them up with a single game, really. But when you look at a game like this, where your bread and butter's on it, Sure
maybe we're seeing the impact of the game being a bit more hardcore than something like Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
Where the player base is going to be who is playing it, they're likely to kind of stay on it because it takes a certain kind of skill level to be able to play the game well. So the people who get there are likely to stay.
Yeah, true.
But then a ton of people will just bounce off or not even get there in the first place.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's even better if you make a good game at first, so people who continue to play will want to get better. But hey, they got
really is.
They got half the equation.
And getting that balance right is tough, right? Between having a good skill cap in the game that feels rewarding when you get better at it,
right?
Compared to the price of entry, how long it takes you to you need to be this tall to ride the roller coaster type situation. How long does it take you to get to that level where you can play the game and have some good fun? It feels like that's quite high for Marathon compared to Arc Raiders, where it's pretty much pick it up and go.
Yeah. Seeing a lot of people saying they're playing Pragmata. That's very cool.
Yeah. I finished it as well. Good game. Solid game.
Is it your game of the year? I've seen a lot of people saying that they expect that Pragmata will be their game of the year, and I guess assume they're stopping their year at 5/08/2026.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that would be a question or a discussion right now. But was it that good to you?
No, for me, it's not in that conversation, even compared to the games that I've played already this year.
Okay.
It's a solid game, and for a new IP, I think it's very cool, and it's sort of fresh. It's got a nice, touching narrative and good relationship between the protagonist and the kid. Probably one of my favorite kid characters in a game.
That's awesome.
But it's not at that level that I would put it up there in terms of holy moly, but it is very solid, very good presentation, solid technically as well. It kind of hits all the boxes and has some really interesting and fresh elements to it.
That's what I assumed. I assumed that any of the, game
but I also had
so
the clear feeling that if it lasted, I think I put in 12 hours. If it lasted 20, I don't know if I'm there all the way. I kind of had that feeling that it was a good length. That's what she said. But I don't know if I was in for double that duration necessarily. So it was a good short experience as it was.
That's cool. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people saying that, so it's good. It definitely seems more generic than I thought it was going to be in its gameplay, just because when I first saw that Tetris, like, I thought that shit was going to be, I don't know, I guess I just thought it was going to be experimentation, the game, but it actually wasn't that, which in a way I actually think is probably better if I decide to play it versus like every 2 minutes they're trying some new mini game thing. But yeah,
I don't know what you would feel about the mini game, because that's the part. Yeah, did you like it? Does it feel like a whole game around that?
No. Yeah. Okay. So I like the idea. If like it was against one boss, you had to do it. Like he reprogrammed your computer and you had to hack his back. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Doing that all the time. No. Even watching it is insufferable. I tried to watch when some people in our chat were streaming it, and I was like, that is not for me. But for me.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's the main reason I felt like
20 hours might be too much.
A longer game would not have been a good idea around that system. So I was okay with what I got.
That's cool.
But you're doing that a lot. I know you have some ways around it where you can like auto hack. I didn't do those. I just did it all the time. So I was really, doing that all the time.
Yeah, I think I'll probably check it out when I get a chance. We'll just have to see. It's one of those games.
It is very cool, though.
Maybe I'll watch a video of it too, like any game that tries to, like, I'm just not any game that's like hinges too much on the emotional stuff just doesn't, it feels for somebody else, it's that it's hitting. It's not that it's not hitting for me. It's that it quite literally feels like nothing's happening. I don't even feel like they're attempting. I can tell they are. But I'm saying from an emotional standpoint, I'm just sitting there going like, what's happening right now? Why are we talking? Let's move on. Or why are we doing this? Or why do I care what the kid was doing? Or why do I care? But then a game will hit in that way, and suddenly I'm right there with you. I just don't think for Pragmata it would work. And I don't know why Life is Strange would work, where Pragmata wouldn't. I can't quite grasp why one would work for me and one wouldn't, where maybe both would work for you. Which is
you're
cool.
A bit of a tough customer. How dare you just not like every?
Yeah, true.
How
dare just not like every game?
Yeah,
that is true. Speaking of, no, we'll do that one in a bit. Let's see. Let's talk also. Let's continue a little bit of the Sony discussion, though we branched out for a second. Sony hasn't decided on PS6 release date or price. May even change their business models in response. I love how everybody's so surprised, man. They're so surprised to come. They're just like, oh my God, somebody's changing. We've demanded game companies change for 20 years and they're finally doing it. They could do whatever they want. Maybe they could sell it. They could package it. They could give you a payment plan so they can grift you more. I mean, what other way are they going to deliver to you an entire piece of hardware? Right? Like, what other ways are there? Build it yourself. Okay, so how many different ways are there?
What other models are
there's Nintendo grifting you to build your own fucking headset, the Labo thing, okay? So you could go the Mafia style Yakuza Nintendo piece of shit way. You could go payments, and you could use a company like Affinity, I believe is what they're called, through Amazon, which is about 6,000% interest is what it feels like. Complete scam. Like, I don't know how they're in business. They are a scam. The amount of interest they charge is ridiculous for people. So in the old days, they did consoles with cable companies, but there's no cable. I mean, there are cable companies, but they're not as big as they used to be. What other ways are there to get you a console?
Unless they're talking about streaming, right?
Yeah, unless they're talking about streaming. Yeah. And remember, they're the ones who made such a point that a streaming game just really isn't a game. And that's not the way they ever wanted to go. But times change. Times are rough for these Times are rough for these giant multi-billion-dollar companies. They're singing the blues. They're on a crossroad somewhere, making a deal with a demon to try to figure out a way to grift you of more cash. Then Xbox. Speaking of grifting, dude, this is probably one of the more embarrassing things I've seen in a couple weeks. So Xbox is like, look at us. We've changed the shape and color of the Xbox achievements. look at us. And they did like 3 super small software things. Now, admittedly, those software things have to go through certification, so they most likely were already in effect or being decided upon prior to the new CEO replacing Phil. But dude, people are like, this is a huge change. It's a game changer. This is a sign of Xbox. Oh, that's what they did. They changed the fucking boot of the Xbox to the old Xbox.
They
sound.
changed the logo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It has like the green.
Dude, this is right out of PR 101. It is weaponizing dumb influencers. Like, this is exactly what it's for. Like, if like this would be something that you and I would be like, look, this is a great, if we were like just one company and we saw our company doing that, we'd talk for 15 hours about how this was intrinsically connected to the massive, incredible, down to the minutia changes that were existing at this company that will see us into the future forever as success. It's like, no, they changed a fucking MP4.
Yep.
They changed an MP4, dude. And they changed
and it's weird how something like that could be spun as positive or negative. You could say, well, look at this, new person. They're trying to seem like they're changing stuff, but really what? They changed the color of the logo, like they changed the PR, or it's a nothing burger. And then on the flip side, you can do what a lot of people are doing, which is making a big deal out of it. No, this marks a change.
Yeah, this is
tone.
This is a title change.
And it's weird that we've gone that way, because out of the two,
true.
I would have almost expected the
nonchalant,
the negative one.
Or negative.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I really don't make anything out of it.
I mean, there's nothing even to make. I don't even know how you would make something out of it. How stupid would you have to be like, dude, the MP4 changed. Let me describe to you for 15 hours why this is the biggest change known to man. It's like, dude, stop. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Because even the other stuff that people raised is she's made claims that we will stay away from AI slop and, focus on great creative projects and games. I mean, that's fine. I feel like that was already stated as a preference, way before.
Yeah.
But also, for them to state that doesn't mean anything, because what matters is what actions they actually take, and we've seen them say one thing and then change it when it makes sense to change business-wise.
So they're saying that they're not doing AI, yet on the same day these changes happened, they hired 3 of the top-tier AI guys to now run Xbox?
Right. And they have the massive AI data centers.
Yeah. By the way, you know me, I don't care about the AI thing at all. They can go for it. I did see that they stopped doing Copilot, and people thought that was an active choice. And I'm like, it probably was to save money, because the development of Copilot on a console is going to cost you millions of dollars. So you cancel it, you now have saved cash, and you can appear like you're gamer-centric. Look how gamer-centric I am. It's like, not so much. But yeah, I don't know. The AI thing doesn't bother me, but it is weird to be like, don't we find it interesting that an entire console, and this will be a PlayStation as well, this will be Nintendo's new one as well, that now it's going to be about the negation of something in a system. It will no longer be about the positive added parts of a system. It's going to be about the negation of something. We will not have blank in our system. That shows how bad the industry is right now. Now, an industry can be good money-wise, and it can be good happiness-wise, because I love my games. But it can show you how bad the industry is in its curvature of, like, especially innovation, where you're actively going out of your way to tell people the big thing about our blank is that it won't have this.
Yeah.
That is weird. That is weird. Also, you've heard the story. The more you concentrate on your enemy, the more the enemy wins, even if they don't show up for the game. So if you continually say, we're not doing AI, we're not doing this and that, guess where AI is just consistently getting mentioned everywhere. It's sort of weird.
Yeah.
This is Manny, 500 DOP. Are you down with DOP? Sup, guys? What did you both make of Stranger Than Heaven Showcase? Thanks for the pod. I thought it was great. I thought it was, we sat, had about 20 people in chat, looked great. Did you see it, Johnny? You were in there, I thought.
Yeah, this was like a day ago
Mhm.
or something.
Weren't
right?
you in there with us? Or were you not?
No, I wasn't there for this one. I saw it
Hang on.
early
Let me
today.
kick Johnny out of this thing. What a piece of shit. Oh, I'm sorry, what? Did you say? I'm just joking. Go ahead. You saw it? What'd you think?
I honestly I didn't see anything that different that we hadn't seen. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. You know, I like the time skips. That's exciting. Looks good.
I feel like time skips, true death with weapons and stabbing, guns. We saw dynamic weather for the first time ever. Time skips, I thought were a pretty big deal. Those were the major ones, and then the entire switch over to its focus on music was really interesting. Now I don't know if that's going to turn into anything, because it could be the world's worst game ever. When he's like, doom, 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 when a dog barks near him and he's like collecting the dog bark tone, I don't know what that's going to mean. So, yeah. But I would say universally positive is what I basically heard. I don't know if that'll turn out into anything. It also graphically looked a good deal better. Holy shit, were the cities busy. I think when we were counting typical cities in Yakuza versus this, it was over 2 times as many NPCs, which that could help it feel more alive. You know, feel more like real people are running around. I also like the idea of the protagonist, and they even stated that they weren't doing the typical thing, which is like 2 guys split up at the start, one becomes a millionaire, one does not, and at the very end, they're going to have to battle like one. With
the classic.
I can't remember narrative. Who's in one. Not Jackie Chan, the other one. But anyway, yeah. And it's like, you're going to have to battle, blah, 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 at the end of this movie or whatever. And instead, they're like, nope, they end up teaming up and, you know, putting the skills they've learned throughout the time to use and become partners. Now, it doesn't mean they won't battle at the end. It doesn't mean like there won't be some like ultimate turn where it's like, I was always the bad guy. I like my position in the sphere of influence I have. I like my money.
Yeah. You know, they got some strong aesthetics in this one.
Very strong aesthetics.
Looks very stylistic.
They got Snoop Dogg.
Cal here says, is there a classic game that you never played, but you would happily dive into if an updated version were to be produced? Looking at you, Advent Rising. What are the chances he mentions that game too?
I don't know, but I feel like that's weird.
Yeah, I guess we're living in a simulation.
I guess
that's
it. What was the gist of it though? What was the gist of Kel's?
Is there a classic game that if you were to be
continue? Sorry, I got to put.
If it were to be produced in an updated version today, you would be down to play. Classic game.
I don't know. Do you know any? I don't really know any. Like, I mean, the ones we always bring up, I would say like...
There are tons. Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to see the graphics of Space Harrier improved, you know. Somebody was right. It was Snoop's bodyguard that killed somebody. So Snoop had nothing to do with it whatsoever and wasn't even in the state. In fact, they're saying he wasn't on the planet when it occurred. So it was definitely his bodyguard.
He was off planet.
He was off planet. Snoop was off planet. So I take it back. I take it back. Rightfully corrected.
Yeah, for sure.
He did not murder anybody. So therefore he could be in nothing.
Chrono Trigger, you know, the 16-bit stuff.
Yeah, the 16-bit. Right. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, those are rough for me to play. So I definitely would love a full-on remake.
Yeah. But I mean, can I point it out here that anytime anybody asks and this question's asked all the time, I would say that generally all the time, a lot of the games we play are good now. They have multiple avenues of gameplay now. You can get out of the car in a third-person game, blah, 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 blah. But in the old days, you couldn't even do that kind of stuff, so I don't even know how they would play now. I mean, there were a lot of racing games that you're like, this is just a racing game. Would they have loved to put on foot? Yes, but they couldn't would we need to see that now? So a lot of my games are better in their old times. Yeah, somebody said Mercenaries. I would say Mercenaries is probably the closest because back then it was already going the third person, get out of the truck, a lot of destruction. So yeah, Mercenaries.
It would be so different, right? I mean,
yeah,
think
lot
about
of these games would be.
Final Fantasy VII. Like the remake is so different from the original game in many, many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still try to retain, some of the spirit, of course, but inevitably it's going to be completely different.
Inevitably. Spanky Steve, number 2 in the top chatters. $2 super chat. Mercenaries 1 with 1 thumbs up. 1, 2,
Good old
2,
Spanky
1, 1.
Steve.
That's like a code if you believe in like.
Wait, but do you think that Steve
mathematics.
likes to be spanked, or he's the spanker?
No. If you're Spanky Steve, you like to spank somebody. No, Spanker Steve would like to spank somebody. Spanky Steve? Yeah, that sounds like a name you get in high school. No, it sounds like you're spanking it in high school, and somebody's like, "Oh, that's just Spanky Steve over there, just marking out a spot of territory over there by those lockers."
It does sound that way.
Yeah,
respectfully.
Yeah, you're right about Final Fantasy. It really did change a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that game is a really good indication of just how poorly gamers handle excitement and a new thing coming out? Or do you think it hit every high it should have? Because if you were to ask me what the expectation was before Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, it was the identity. It was this is going to be like, if whatever system this is on, it could be on the Sega Master System and it would sell the most that year. Like, there is no game bigger. This is the biggest news of all time in gaming, in history, humanity ever, larger than the moon landing. And then it got released, and then you got people even on the second one, people started bitching about the game being too big, and all these like, the reality of the dream that you hold aloft sort of gets corrupted. I don't know. I like them. I like both of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good example of how bad hope can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think
the
it's tangible.
overhyping of it. I mean, I'm really biased, right? Because I love those games, love the music, like everything about it. So for me, it was magical being able to re-experience that through the lens of a modern game. I think they did a great job still representing a lot of the elements of the original, some of the mini games and stuff, bringing you back to the gameplay as well.
Okay.
So for me, the hype was really well realized. It met my level of excitement, but I think some people had impossible expectations too. The fact that it hit like as a really competent game that even someone like yourself, not a fan, like traditional fan, enjoyed the game, had a good time with the game. To me, that's really high bar for success, where even your non-fans find it to be a solid, competent game. Let's forget about the jumping. At least in the first one, the jumping was a disaster, right?
Yeah.
But the second one was a bit bloated, if I'm honest. I do agree with that, actually. But at the same time, it had some really fun open world, maybe some of the most fun open worlds I've played. So it's there is a bit of a mixed bag to it, but overall it did really well.
Yeah, it's a very interesting title, because the way it was held aloft before it came out was that this is going to change the world, and that like you're not a gamer unless you played these games, whether it be old or new. And then they came out, and competent is just not a word I would describe for this dream and hope that people had. But I liked them. Yeah. But I think it just goes to show that people, I guess gaming might be past the point, especially with how many games that come out. It may be past the point that you can have the same youthful hope that maybe you had prior, because there's so many titles and they're coming so fast, and they're like so it's hard because it's so few and far in between, and every game seems like it's the greatest thing ever for exactly 8 hours.
Yeah,
right.
I've seen it a lot over the years. You know, it always seems like the next thing in the horizon is going to be the next big thing. I know that now it's GTA, which admittedly might actually be the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
But like Starfield kind of felt like that. You know, oh, Starfield is going to be the Magnus Opus, right? And it was a game, right? That's it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't even remember it being a magnum opus. I just remember that it was like it was Bethesda's next thing, so that means 50% of people think it'll be terrible. 50% of people think it'll be the best thing ever, and there's almost never a person who just says, "Hey, I had a pretty good time." You know, it's almost like you got to get your stamp in a shorter amount of time. You got to get it's like everybody is talking with the same focus as a person who wants to write an article that needs 800 words and no more. That's how we now talk. It's like, I can't just tell you, so today I played blah, 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 because that's not going to work. You can't even talk that way right now. It doesn't work that way. You won't garner attention. To give you an example, go into our chat. If you're not the loudest talker in the chat, you're not talking. You may be making sounds, but no one's listening. And that's the way it's become now, is that it's just the chaff and the way people talk about games and the elevated. It's like, this is the greatest thing ever. I've had reviewers be like, oh man, you know, the worst kind of game to review, the mediocre ones. And I'm like, then you should never review, because they're the majority of fucking games. The majority of games, I'm sorry, are mediocre, and that's fine. But if you're having trouble, you should just jet. You should just get the fuck out, because like that indicates you have, you know, a pretty big emotional problem, which seems to be coming into games.
Speaking of getting the frick out, Chadley in those games, as Asa said in chat, is an absolutely abominable game design decision.
What game are we talking about?
The Final Fantasy games. You have this kid, the small blonde kid that's always talking to you like, oh, go here, do this. Cool that you did this. And just like calling you constantly. And do you remember this or no in these games?
I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. I don't remember a little kid.
Final Fantasy 7.
I know what you're saying. I bet you.
Little guy.
Dude, I'm sure I
hated that.
I'm sure I just
that guy with a
on.
passion.
Yeah.
Who gave him my number? Why am I getting constant DMs from this guy?
That's funny. That is funny. Just because I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure he was there. It's just, I bet you I tuned him out after a very small amount of time.
Suppressed memories.
Yeah. Debate Nate says, we need a video essay on why video game creation takes longer than ever, even when technology has gotten faster and better and everything else is faster except video game creation. Why is that? It is not correct. Video creation is actually, I think the last word was about 40% faster now. What you're probably ascribing it to is very specific AAA large games. But if you want to do that, remove AAA, because Zombioid took 13 years. So there's a huge number of indie games that take a long time too. You actually seen the majority of games now. We're seeing a huge increase in speed in the time of games. What you're seeing is the ones that people track. So you're saying you can't just go on what people are telling you as being the ones to put into your data set. But if you go out and you look at other games, you'll see that many are coming out quite quickly. Let me give you an example. 3 years ago, I bitched because I was very upset that the Yakuza devs got away with so much asset reuse, which I believe in fully, but they were getting away with it when other developers were being told you cannot use the same M16 sample for an M16 or an M4 or a whatever you may be using. And I felt that was completely unacceptable as this sort of dividing line between one company and another company. And it took years for that to happen, but they're a company that reuses assets and releases games faster than almost any company currently on the market. Yakuza titles come out at a rat-a-tat-tat rhythm that is absolutely, it's sort of awe-inspiring. After a while, you're just like, dude, there's a new Yakuza game. There's a pirate, like an astronaut, like a whatever. There's just always something new coming out.
That would be a good one. Yeah,
dude, I played the shit out of like an astronaut. But so there's multiple games coming out all the time, but you have to take away. You cannot listen to me, can't listen to you, Can't listen to anybody out there. Literally go out, find your own information, track some games on your own. You're going to be able to figure it out for sure.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because you can do something really quickly now because of all the blueprints, all this kind of ease of use stuff. So a single dev could actually put together a demo pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's great.
But when it comes to like putting together a full game, now the standard for textures and just everything in a game is so high that now to scale to a full game, it's, you require a lot of people, a lot of time, whereas before you just didn't spend that much in like texture work, all this type of crap for it to look good in 4K or whatever it may be. And it just doesn't scale that well. This is the kind of thing that does take just a lot of manual labor and just people working on the project for years,
I take full responsibility, like, especially when I first started reviewing, I'd see, cottage cheese texture. I'd be like, what the fuck is this doing here?
Sure.
But I always tried to make sure.
In Final Fantasy.
I tried to make sure people knew it wasn't everywhere, or there's a reason why I'm noticing it. Because if everything looks like cottage cheese, you're just in a game about dairy, right? That's fine. You'd be like, this game is about dairy. Therefore, cottage cheese textures aren't bothersome. But you'd see those cottage cheese textures and be like, okay, I have an issue with this. I have an issue with that. I do even watch when I'm talking about games to make sure to add a tiny bit of context in there sometimes when I think that it's going to impact a viewer to like come across as the idea that, oh, every game needs to be able to do this and that, because I don't believe it. Not only not believe it, I think that we've given developers I'll smash on anybody. It doesn't matter if it is Xbox like today or whatever. But when you have a developer get smashed on for no reason other than, a reused rock texture, that is bothersome. And I do think it needs to be pointed out that it's like, that's how it works. Also, can I point out that one of the best technological advancements in the last 20 years in video games is now one that people are literally losing their mind over. And that's fucking photogrammetry. So when photogrammetry first came up, it was considered one of the holy grails. It was like, we can take a picture of a rock and we can get this really cool rock and we can shade it to look like a cartoon, but we still have that rock formation. It's going to look real. It's going to look natural, look better than anything we can create because, nature's better than me. It's going to be awesome. We're going to put it in our games. And now I'm seeing this everywhere, by the way, that people are saying that if a texture or / model is photogrammetried in without AI, people should not consider it an asset from the game maker. And I'm like, you need to just walk off a very short dock into some water. Like, dude, can you believe that? Photogrammetry is one of the best, like, real cool advancements for gaming and force magnifiers multipliers, for a developer to make better games, make them faster.
And would we really want our developers to have to spend their time creating like a rock face when realistically, Unreal Engine gives you, I forgot what it's called, but you have these like super high res rock surfaces you can pull in, like, it's sort of like a library you can pull in. I want them to use that, and there's such variety of those that it will never get repetitive because you can still get creative with those, mix them up and, merge them and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I just don't want my developers to spend all their time redoing something that's been done really well in a way.
Agreed. Always be cooking. PLN 25 super chat. Thank you very much. Always be cooking. Always be cooking. Dude, I feel like you'd be real fat after a while though. Man.
Yeah.
A couple days ago I ate, I don't even think it was a lot, but I ate enough to feel uncomfortable. I was like, I never want this feeling again.
Dude, that was me today. Because I had like a meal prep container and I was committed to eating the whole thing. But it was the last, like I prepped a few containers, but the last one was packed, bro. It was like a lot of grams of like pasta with meat and stuff. It was heavy.
You're making me sick just talking about it.
It was great, though.
Man.
It was good. Yeah, I needed needed some coffee to process that.
Fallout 5 launching the same day as World War 3. Yeah, it's going to be a while for some of those games. But yeah, I would like to see more smarter asset reuse. That's probably the major one I'd like to see.
Yeah, it's the same with programming. Like when you use libraries.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to re-implement the
Can you imagine making your own library each time?
multiplication.
Dude,
Like,
so stupid.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Moving on from there, what do we got? Xbox did an event yesterday called A Closer Look at Project Helix. So I watched this. It was sort of like, when you who's the guy who looks like he murders people, puts them in his trunk? He works for Sony. Cerny. Mark Cerny. This reminded me of a Mark Cerny event where they have their nerd come out. By the way, I love Mark Cerny. I'm just saying when he does this, today we'll be talking about cracking compression. Cracking compression. That is haunting, man. I'm sorry. That is weird. But Jason Reynolds talked at an event for Xbox Project Helix yesterday, mostly tech, talked about new compression, Z standard compression, a couple other things. There was really nothing. It was too crazy during this discussion. It really was for developers. It was about how to get developers into the ecosystem more quickly. It was also about their plans, as Sony announced recently. Sony's got plans for this, for the RAM situation. A lot of neural texture compression, a lot of compression, new libraries, trying to figure out ways to compress to get as much as you can into these small, well, I say small games, but into a game package that doesn't grow, insidiously large. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Very weird time to be alive, man. We got a time when the majority of games now, more than 50% are bought on PC, but the majority of people who think or desire to purchase a PC for gaming are not going to be purchasing a PC for low-end gaming, or at least super low-end. They're going to want to future-proof a little bit, but then the cost raised dramatically now. So it's just a weird time, man. Such an odd time to be looking at who's moving around in the gaming ecosystem. Do you have friends who've moved from console or from handheld to PC, or from PC to handheld, or from PC to console? And
I
why?
feel like a lot of my my circle has gone more towards PC.
Okay.
Especially because of game pricing and stuff, because you can find even day one pretty decent sales already on games. I don't remember the last time I had to buy a game full price day one on PC. Usually you can kind of find it with at least a bit of a discount. Whereas in PS5 or any of these consoles, you're buying, pretty much doesn't matter what game that's not true. Sometimes you do get the reduced priced ones.
Yeah.
But for example, I bought Saros the other day, and it stings. You pay full price for that. Doesn't matter if you buy it digitally or what.
Can I ask you a question on that? Not to be a dick. I'm just making sure I understand. It stings to pay the normal price for a game? It stings? What do you mean exactly by that?
Yeah. Because I think I've gotten used to paying less for a game, because on PC the price is lower every time. So instead of paying, maybe it's 60 for you, I'm not sure. Depends
60,
on the region, right?
$59.99.
Say 60.
Yeah.
I'm used to paying 50 or 40 for a PC game of that price, simply because PC, we have, sites that sell, codes for the game, or you can kind of find deals everywhere and stuff like that. And then when you compare that to a PS5, it's just, I have to think a lot harder about getting a game there, because also there's the question of what probably runs better on my PC. So it's kind of everything is leading me to want to buy it on PC more. The only thing pulling me to the console would be just the comfort, because I do have it on the TV. It's a bit easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could hook up the PC, but realistically, I don't want to have to deal with a PC from my couch. So all this kind of stuff is what I think about. Do I buy it here or there? That's really the main variable for me, is just the comfort of it. But on the technical side, I would always just pick PC. And that's kind of what I see from a lot of my friend group as well, is that when the game is available on both, they're getting it on PC for sure. And the only times it's like Saros, because it's an exclusive, or we're getting it on PS5.
Yeah, so I've seen exactly the opposite, mostly revolving around Game Pass on the console, where they're like,
okay,
why should I do any of that when I know half of these games, like, I'm not going to sit there and worry about for an extended period of time, and I'm just enjoying games. And then I've heard a lot of people moving to mobile, and then I've heard a lot of mobile people moving to console. I think overall it depends on, not to be rude, but I think my friends probably don't have the money your friends have. So, like, the idea of buying a PC is completely gone. Like, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's
if
been
you have
gone
to
for
buy
while.
a PC now,
Yeah.
it's very different.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was asking about, moving, not owning right now. Like, what are you hearing from friends moving? Because the friends moving was a thing prior to RAM. And it was definitely feeling like it was becoming a thing prior to RAM. But as of now, it's completely...
Yeah, that's fair. It's hard to get into now.
Dude, it's just... And that's what I was saying is, like, to buy one that you know will, let's say, perform identical in Saros, it's more expensive than ever. And it's more expensive for the console, right? So then is it like, okay, is that going to feed into subscription services, which we know Sony is looking more into? We know Microsoft is going to continue to invest into and trying to make it sort of cheaper. So, yeah, dude, it's ridiculous, right? But it also, it depends on where people are currently, what they have currently for cash, what their, your current employment is. Because when you look at, like, the cost of something now, to give you an example, and I'm not saying you would do this. This is just a money example. But it's three consoles for the top tier video card.
Just for the card. That's just one
That's
component.
Not the RAM.
Yeah.
So when you talk about moving into something, it just becomes this whole rigmarole. I was putting together PCs. For example, I was putting together PCs prior to the RAM situation at about 5 to 10 a month. Sometimes it was 20, but it was 5 to 10 a month where I would help somebody put it together or put it together myself, or even just walk somebody through the different things. And that's gone to zero. Just zero. Even people who were planning on it were just DMing me going, yep, it's completely gone. In fact, the majority of people that I saw bought 2 consoles instead. So what I've been hearing is buying one main and then the Switch 2. Yeah. So I've heard a lot of people deciding to just get 2 consoles. Switch has got a lot of exclusives because of Nintendo. So it's just like, I'm going to go to a Nintendo and I'm going to go to a Sony or an Xbox. A lot of people go to Xbox. People want to pretend like they don't, but a lot of people go to Xbox in some way. Certainly not anywhere near the numbers of Sony, but because of a Game Pass, if they don't have it on PC. So it does come up in conversations. But yeah, man, it's a weird time, dude, because in a time frame we all saw happening, but if you were outside and the news of what was going on was only inside your house, you would feel like you teleported 20 years into the future. And the reason why I bring that up is because in 6 years, the console price has doubled. And that's not even the best indicator, because in 2 years, it went up by more than a fourth. So it's just like, it's actually gone up more in this small amount of time than, percentage-wise, than if you look at the entire 6 years. So it's just like, dude, no wonder people are not knowing. And a lot of my friends are not doing games at all. Man, that's something I do worry about. A lot of my friends have stopped doing games at all, Johnny, like at all. Where I noticed some weren't in that, because what do we have? 8,000 people in our LAN Discord. Stopped altogether. And I was like, what are you doing? There were too many shit games on PC, like Steam. You have no clue if a game's shit or if it'll run on your system or whatever. So
let me go get a drink real quick.
Go ahead.
I'll still hear you. I'll be right back.
So these people were getting games and they were deciding, and they were enjoying some of them, but they were just having probably a bad feedback loop that occasionally occurred, especially with, like, you get multiple drivers, multiple systems. And definitely when you look at, like, these companies releasing versions where one does ray trace and one doesn't, that kind of stuff. And I was quite surprised. That's why I was telling Johnny, I was quite surprised to see a big drop. And I get it. I get it. Weirdly enough, I'm very anti-purchase for no reason. I say that weirdly enough. I guess that fits my psyche, I guess. But anyway, I'll just say weirdly enough, I'm anti-purchase something for no reason. And so I don't do Humble Bundle just so that I can like have some arbitrary library. I delete my library a lot of times on Steam if I know I'm not going to play the game again. I don't need to ever see it. I don't buy arbitrary games. However, even I've noticed that even with those caveats, I'm still thinking harder on games, on getting a game. And it's not, weirdly enough, it's not always about the money I have. Sounds odd. It's not the money I have. It's the money I'm worried I won't have that's been popping up into my head recently. And I think that might be something that revolves around every single human on Earth right now, where with all of the shit going on everywhere, there really is nowhere where you can say we're not touched by some weird financial situation or some weird company situation. And I think that a lot of people are looking at maybe sticking with what they know and sort of waiting times out. I could be wrong on that. I'm not actually asking for that data, but I'm definitely starting to hear it more. Panero says, I think current time people who want PC might go for a ROG Ally or something. I mean, they could. ROG Ally's gone up in price too, man. You know? Like, it's gotten rough. Very rough. Norb says a lot of AAA games play just the same, and if you're not into indies, you can get bored. I get bored from indies. The number of indies, especially when you look at the percentage of indies, the number of indies that copy one another is infinitesimal, if not like a good deal even more often, because there's so many of them versus the occasional AAAs that do copy. So basically you have occasional AAAs that do copy and feel somewhat the same, and a fucking litany, a buffet of bullshit from indie devs that just copy paste from one another. But you guys know me, man. I have no care for the indie dev versus double A versus AAA kind of shit. Frankly, every single group is 100% accountable and 100% guilty of copy paste, and we see it all the time. So I wouldn't even say AAA, AA, indie, budget, whatever at all when I buy a game. I don't even think of that until I'm reviewing it so somebody can understand the price point. For the most part, when I buy a game, I'm like, what does that game look like? I don't give a fuck who makes it or how many people make it, because that's a social signal. That my job isn't to be a charity. So, but yeah, man, I was telling Johnny, I was telling them that I feel like I'm worried about what I will have in the future, not what I'm paying right now. And I've started to slow down on games. Like, there's a fear. I have no fear that I can think of that something's happening, but it's because every single person every day wakes up to some new news thing that's like, seriously, we did that? Or seriously, somebody's doing that? Or seriously, games have done this? Or seriously? Like, nothing fits. Have you ever felt like you woke up in the morning and you are 1 inch to the right or left of where you should have been that day, and you're bumping into shit? Like the day that is just uncomfortable, yeah. You spill a pop and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. I've been here for years. I shouldn't be doing that. I feel like we all woke up in a world where we are shifted, and like the universe is one tick past us and we're behind it. And the reason why I say that is because even the companies that people trust, like Steam, are just completely shafting everybody. So it's like, okay, so what's going on? It's like, oh no, here's the Steam Deck or the Steam machine or whatever, absolute shit specs. So you're like, okay, that used to be a place where they would offer something that would do a little bit more for the money, and now we're not even getting a price point. And you know what I mean? Like, it's like every company, it's almost like every man out for himself is true versus the worry and sarcasm that it was true 10 years ago. But now it seems a little bit more true. And the consoles were a place of safety for years. Get a pretty good return on your investment was what a console was. Day one, get a good return on your investment, because it usually meant it ran pretty well. Now, buy a console, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And buy a PC doesn't even make sense. I mean, PC is literally, if I didn't have a PC right now, I would never buy a PC. The amount of return I would need, because I'm also buying games. You don't just buy a PC and all the fucking games are free unless you're a pirate. So, like, you're still buying games. And if you save $10 on a PC game, let's say you save $10, which, by the way, most people can't save like you're talking about, because a lot of games are locked to one of the stores anyway, or you're going to a shady CD key place, which a lot of people don't trust. I'm not saying I don't. I've used them. But a lot of people are not going to go to a CD key place, or they're just going to buy the game on the major store so they don't have to get a code from somewhere else and enter that code into here, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Or they don't go to the store, because stores will have sales. They will have retail store sales. Like you can go to my Walmart and get a store or get a game for a console that will be $5-10 off because they want you to go in. Or you have a Sam's Club. Maybe it's not Sam's Clubs, but you have a membership. You can go into a store and get a game, for cheaper. So you can get those games. But right now, getting into it's hard. Like, dude, if somebody said buy a ROG Ally, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I can sell somebody on a ROG Ally right now.
I don't know if I'm just biased, but a lot of my friend group, they don't use the PC just for gaming. It's like that is their kind of like station. So everything is happening there. They're multitasking. They're on Discord. They are watching a stream. All this stuff is happening, and you can't do that with only a console or with like just your handheld.
Yeah.
Maybe you can if you have a laptop next to it. You know what I mean? But if you want your one device to kind of run everything.
But then, but that's getting out of games. At that point, you're now like, do you buy a super cheap ROG Ally to not play games on because it can stream on Discord and you can watch a show? Because you can do both of those on the Xbox.
That's why I say I'm biased in that way, because a lot of my friend group,
I don't think you're biased. That makes sense.
They're just online a lot in that sense. They're like actively doing other stuff, not just playing games.
Yeah.
And so there's an overlap there of utility that makes sense then for them. But for someone who just wants to sit down and play a game, I see those other options as probably better right now.
It's getting tough too, because especially now with consoles able to stream, consoles able to watch a Discord, it still takes some power from the system. So the next systems, they're going to want to stop that power from being taken. So they'll probably put a chip in there to handle stuff. So does that cost even more now? Like, what do you think the cost of a PlayStation 6 is? $1,000?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that.
But I mean, now that Sony has gone out of their way to say that they are looking at other ways to get their consoles, I feel that if you had said it was $1,000 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, I don't know. Now, though, with Sony themselves saying we got to look at other ways to even get our console into people's hands, that feels rough. It feels like they're warming us up.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what they would. I think going higher than what it is now would be
a mind
insane.
killer. Yeah. I do. I'll stick with that too, but I feel like we probably shouldn't, because they're doing the signaling. We're starting to get the signals.
Something's changing. Yeah, for sure.
Something's changing. Let's see. That was a good discussion. I like that. Helldivers 2 addressed some future plans and player feedback. So I don't know if this is true, and I don't think you do Helldivers as much anymore, but if you do, you can shine some light on it. I feel like Helldivers vacillates between very positive on Steam and very negative. So like 2 days, which I think in all honesty is terrible. I don't think the devs should look at that for the most part, because that's like, you can't dev that fast. You gotta give it a little bit more time. But it seems like there's a lot of up and down with that game. Do you know anything about the down right now? Do you know the reason why they're getting hammered on? And when you answer, I'm gonna let my dog out. And if you don't, have you enjoyed any Helldivers lately?
No, I have enjoyed the game. I think those games have an issue with being held hostage by the player base. We see that with a lot of games that where they might make an adjustment to a boss or to a weapon, or Slay the Spire changes a card, and now people are annoyed, so they're review bombing the game, and it generates a lot of pressure for devs to react on a very tight loop, like very quickly to some of these things. And then it can have like an opposite reaction where like now something else is broken as a result of that. I think that's the big problem, is that they have to show themselves to be responsive to this feedback.
Right.
But at the same time, they can't make these changes so radically that they generate all kinds of secondary order problems as a result. So it's a tough line to walk. I think Helldivers overall does a pretty good job that it goes up and down with the sentiment maybe, but overall people stick with the game, right? That's ultimately, I think, the testament there. That like people are still, bought in. They keep playing incredibly after all this time. That they're still playing it, still enjoying it.
I don't know, Spear. He's asking why it's mostly. I don't know. I just saw a news thing and the news thing could have been a day or two old, so it could be back to whatever. But it was just like this. They just seem
a lot of times they nerf a weapon, right, to balance it out, and I think that's mostly the frustration people get is when something they like gets nerfed, which I get, because if that was your bread and butter and like what really worked for you, and now it's not working because no fault of your own, they just decided to nerf it. That to me feels kind of bad, especially in a game like that that's PvE, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you like a weapon, like really like a weapon and get really good at it, and now it's not viable anymore.
I swear to God, like with service games, that'd suck to try to make one.
Yeah.
Change anything and you have some dude who like you spent, cool 50 million making the game. Some dude who spent 60 one time 2.5 years ago is mad because his fucking special gun doesn't do 6.2 shots every second. It does 6.1. And you're like, God dang him. And by the way, I'm not even really dissing on that, like the gamer who does that. It's like, yeah, you bought into the game and you're why they're still there. So you have the right. I just don't like Steam reviews, man. I just don't like them. I think they're a bad feedback loop, and I think they do way more. We're seeing at least that they're doing a lot more damage to like developers and how they even try to figure out what they want. But of course, what do? The only other thing you can do is a Discord, right? Which sort of, I don't want another Discord, dude. I can't handle it. I can't handle it, man. Every single company that wants me to review a game is like, go into our Discord. And I'm like, I am not going to. Thank you, but no.
Billion Discords.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there's so many, dude. So many. Yeah, it's a tough time, man, to make a game. Fun time, but tough. If I was going to make a game, I would make it one that I would sell it on like itch.io. So barely anybody would buy it, but also I wouldn't have to worry about the fucking, the Steam Analytics bullshit and some fucking influencer like me covering the sales and the concurrent players. Just be like,
I mean, ideally the way it works, right, is that you as the developer don't have to worry about that stuff. You're kind of insulated from it, while the more like business facing side of the team handles all that. Yeah, maybe the publisher, and you just worry about making a great game. But we've heard from people where that's a big part of their stress is like how they get the game out and how it's being received and everything. And that seeps into the dev side in a big way as well. The pressure is massive nowadays for how your game is received.
Yeah, and there's also the big story. You'll get some guy who's like, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. My game called, Missing One Sock Mail sold 100,000 copies and blah, blah, blah. And it looks like shit. And I want to celebrate that it looks like shit, but and you're like, I mean, I'm literally not. Yeah, I am pretty sleepy, Vapor. That's why I'm leaning back. I'm actually super uncomfortable. My back is fucking killing me. But what I was going to say was, I think for a lot of people, well, I don't know. For a lot of people, that feedback loop that's in the zeitgeist of Twitter and all that kind of stuff, combined with Steam telling you every day how good or bad your game is by 100,000 gamers playing it, is just rough. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Just feels odd. But hopefully, yeah, you didn't know, I didn't know, but hopefully, I think the game's doing incredibly well, so good for them.
Yep.
Well, LMAAO, that was my favorite game. Oh, Missing One Sock Mel? Yeah. It's Missing One Sock Mel. If you're living with roommates and anybody keeps missing one sock, check next to their bed because that dude's jacking off into it. Next up, Piscatella. This
Wow.
is Matt Piscatella. I believe he does NPD. I could be wrong on that, but he's one of the analysts who covers games. He said PS5 had its biggest sales week of 2026 after a price increase announcement, followed by the lowest weeks afterwards, suggesting demand was pulled forward. No shit, Sherlock. No, I'm by the way, I'm totally not teasing him. He literally, I bet you would have said that was going to happen, but basically what it did was it pulled all the people who are going to purchase it out of the woodwork. And then it went to where sort of its true request level is, which is insanely low. And I think that makes sense with them not releasing anything that's massive right now. It makes sense that it wouldn't be super high. FOMO's a thing, FOMO's a thing, right? By the way, speaking of FOMO, if you join our Patreon now and you leap into the Patreon, there's a special deal on the $5 Discord, which it costs you $5.
Amazing. Incredible deal right there.
Incredible deal.
Yeah.
You can run deals,
but only now, by the way.
But only right now.
Now's your last chance.
And then the $5 deal to get into Discord will go to $10, and it won't have Discord. I'm just joking. I don't know, but I have those do. I mean, sales do work. Like for sure, sales work.
Yeah. So like raising the price, basically, less people want to buy PS5 now.
Because the purchase went forward. Everybody basically panicked, which makes total sense. That's how you do things.
Yeah, some people were saying we might see the opposite, where because the price is going up, we might see a lot of people wanting to get it now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, all of my devices. There we go. It's back. My mouse, my keyboard, everything stopped working. And I was sitting here going,
nice.
what's going to happen? Yeah.
Classic.
Well, yeah, hopefully people get what they want. Hopefully people get to play the games that they want and stuff like that. It does suck. It sucks, but it's expected. I mean, maybe ultimately this will result in, more scientists going out there and, investigating rocket technology because gaming's too expensive and they put all of that extra energy into something vital and worthwhile. Do I think that'll happen? No, I do not. But it could. I think the random purchase everything type of gamer, it might be nice to slow them down a little bit so that you didn't have the arbitrary, here's a high sales number of a game, but nobody plays it kind of thing that we saw for so many years. Might be nice to sort of see a true replication of desire versus what you get. Because, dude, I know so many people who...
More signal.
Yeah, more signal versus the FOMO. Just like, oh, this new game's coming out, I need to get it. And then 2 days later, are you playing it? Oh, no, I haven't even turned it on. It's like, damn, seriously? Like, at all? So, we'll have to see. What else we got for questions in Discordian?
All right. Let's see. This one from Pillowcase. What game are you most looking forward to for May? And do you think the Lego Batman title will do well, seeing how it's been a while since the last decent Batman title?
Sorry, I'm stretching my back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
Oh my God, it's cramped up so bad. Woo!
I'll have a crack at it first while you come back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it will do well. I think Lego, by the way, is on a rise. Just Lego itself, because they've gone. We talked about in the past how they've made a really smart PR shift in the last few years, going away from marketed for kids to marketed for adults. Sounds weird, but the focus on IP Lego sets has been massive for them.
That's true.
Because now it's all like Star Wars,
IP stuff.
Yeah, all IPs to Pokemon, big IP stuff, and it sells incredible for adults, and adults are much more interested now in Lego, and kids too. By the way, it kind of works for both groups as well. So I think Lego is on the rise for interest, and the title itself looks more interesting, right? I mean, they got some real gameplay in there this time that actually looks good. No offense to the other games, but they were very surface level. So it's cool to see. I think it will do really well. And then what game are you most looking forward to? Did you pull your back, by the way? You
My
hurt
back,
yourself
I
this
think
week?
I think I have a chip in my back, not a chip on my shoulder. I think I have a chip. Something's been creaking around back there for a while now. And a couple days ago during practice, I moved and I heard a weird sound, and I was like, "Well, that's fucking odd," and it feels like something's there. And then I cramped up because I was sitting weird. You're never, isn't it funny that bad posture feels so fucking good, dude? Somebody will say, when we're here, normally I try to sit like this. So, you're doing your prim and proper, got your book on the top of your head like a nice English royalty, like a nice woman. And then when you guys go away and when I sit to play games, I'll be like, oh. And I feel way better.
Shrimp.
I feel way better. Yeah. Your back is like, thank Christ. And I'm like, listen, I spend a lot of time on podcasts. So if there's anybody who is in a good posture for a lot of time, it is actually me. I'm actually in a good and dude, we're doing martial arts. You're in a pretty good posture there. Got to make sure your back is strong. But fuck, man. Yeah, I fucked it up. I fucked it up bad. Man, it's giving me a migraine. Talking about Lego though, real quick. This new game, it's doing more than the other ones. I think there's been ones like City that had some extra stuff, but I think Horizons didn't hit very many people. I don't think Horizons sort of seemed to take off. So,
yeah, not at all. It's also kind of a weird fit. I don't think the Horizon theme in general kind of fit with Lego. Yeah. Weirdly enough, Star Wars seems to fit really well.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of the other stuff they're doing.
Flash Gordon would fit. Pirates of the Caribbean's fit. I think they've got one or two of those, right? Don't they have one or two Pirates of the Caribbean? Caribbean. Depends where you're from.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, did you say Caribbean or Caribbean?
None, because I grew up in Brazil, so we spoke Portuguese.
What's it called in Portuguese?
Caribe.
What?
That's how we would say. Caribe.
Caribe?
Instead of Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Caribe.
Pirates of the Caribe. No, Caribe. It wouldn't be pirates either. What's the word pirates?
No, piratas. Piratas do Caribe.
Do Caribe. Piratas do Caribe.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Piratas do Caribe.
Yeah, I still to this day, I don't know if I'm supposed to say Caribbean or Caribbean. I kind of just flow with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good.
Caribbean Cruise Lines, Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That sounds better. Yeah.
Somebody with a really long name with just fucking words says, speaking of, I can't even read that username. Relvla Krevlikin. That sounds like I was speaking Simlish. Says, speaking of pirates, how about the rumored FromSoft pirate game?
Is that a thing? I haven't heard those rumors, man.
There's a little leak or something the day before, and then something from a notorious leaker, the notorious leaker known as DOJ. I have no fucking clue, but yeah, there was a couple little things that popped out, but yeah, I couldn't care less really. I'm not a big FromSoft look forward to fan. I need to be right there. I need to have them get all of the bullshit, the fake fandom stuff out. I need to be like 2 weeks prior to the game. And really see
you got.
Yeah, let's see what you got now. Like when people are like, a little quieter. I mean, they're still ramped up, but it's like none of that other stuff. It's like, what have we got right now? And I'll look at it like I did with Elden Ring. So, let's see. Release the Kraken. But seriously, Reva Kaleva Corinne. What the fuck is that username, man? What's it from?
Yeah. Way too many consonants in there.
Wait a minute. Relieves the Kraken. Release the Kraken, but with a V?
There you go. Yeah, we got it. We got it.
Release the Kraken with a V? Who does? You bastard. You got us. I don't even know how I figured that out. I think it's because Kraken, pirates, blah, blah, blah. But release with a
Kraken
V.
with a V. Wow.
Releaseva the Krakenva. It still
sounds
a little like Sims. You got
played,
us. Yeah,
sir.
well played. Just well played. I mean, damn. All right, what else do we got? Anything cool? I'm gonna have to shift here.
Most look forward to game in May. Anyone standing out right now?
I mean, dude. My patience is at a 0. Can you tell? I'm tired. My back hurts.
What comes to mind? It doesn't have to be the top.
The 50th fucking time what game in
Okay,
May
but like top of mind. If I go like top of mind for May, what do you got?
Aren't we in May right now?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, just making sure I wasn't fucking having a stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, Soros came out, and that was like
that could be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, I don't know, man. Come on, quit asking that question, man. We need to just be like, you can't ask it. We need to like have a requirement on that, because that, I remember it would piss off Absy so much, because they would ask him and he was given the same answer each time, and it was like 6 months in a row and people still hadn't picked up on it. Jet Black Ninja, $50 super chat. Happy Friday, gang. What's up, sir? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting some Diablo in. A lot of people doing Diablo 4. Man, holy shit. Hang on, I'm gonna go get a fucking aspirin real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it.
Continue talking, though. I can hear you.
Oh, good. I'll hit the next question while you come back.
Unless it's what game we're looking forward to.
It is not okay. It's not.
Kill somebody. Okay.
All good. It's not. It's, this one from level 52. Making Shin. Boom. Pandora box has been opened, and mythological and supernatural creatures now inhabit the earth. What creature do you think you have a decent enough chance at dispatching, and what do you pray you'll never run into?
Centaurs I could take out. Centaurs I could take out. Easy.
Nah.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Nah, Centaur I could take out easy. Centaurs aren't really built the best, man. They're too much top weight, because like when you look at a horse, it's not big heads, but when you look at their bodies, it's actually a pretty spindly head on the end of that giant barrel body. But if you get a centaur and you get a huge human body that's some way in proportion.
What's your plan of attack? Like, do you have a weapon? Like, what are you doing?
Probably, have you ever seen in the Street Fighter games or whatever where a person leaps forward with their fists out and does like a twist and punches? I would do that up its anus, most likely, because I can pull that move off in real life without hesitation. Yeah, I'm always able to do that. Like, that's a move that's my go-to move whenever we're sparring. I just leap up in the air and I spin. I do it.
I think I could take on a Pikachu. I think just like a big rock and like just toss it. Awesome. I think I can pull that off.
Bonk.
Okay, but what's the scariest in your mind? Like, you're opening Pandora's box. What is the scariest thing that could come out?
The Gorgon.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah,
maybe a mind flayer for me. I always have that image.
We're not talking. I thought when he said Pandora's box, I thought he meant our history and our myths. But if we're talking like D&D, D&D and everything, yeah, that's pretty scary. Yeah, mind flayer's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Wow, man, my stomach. I'm not usually into Lego games, but this one looks way deeper and hits on all the beloved parts of Batman. Yeah, Batman seems to be sort of attracting people's attention in a good way.
Yeah, a bit of pop culture too, right? Because they're referencing constantly stuff of the games and kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
What else do you got? Anything? What do you have?
Yeah, this one from Get Tricky. Sounds like a Daft Punk song.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like that.
Or an old N64 skateboarding game.
Yes, Tricky.
Right?
Yeah.
Get Tricky. What was the question?
Says, I have been personally enjoying Marathon, but any thoughts on the financial loss from Sony after they bought Bungie? Funny enough, we did kind of touch on that.
Yeah, I think we got to that one.
I mean, what about Marathon? Do you view it as something that's going to last when you look like next year and beyond? Would you put your money on people are still playing Marathon?
I mean, dude, people still play DC Universe. I just don't know what still playing and valid, successful, long-term game mean in this context.
But I think that is a successful game.
No. We talked about this last week, a week prior a little bit. There's a difference between 800 people total playing your game and how many devs you can keep staffed.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Bungie, Bungie atypical
like, can
numbers.
you sustain that big of an operation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say looking at it, seeing what's in it, seeing the people I've seen play it and being brutally honest with no positive or negative towards it. Like, it's just, it is what it is. I would say that game is pretty close to a failure when you look at like continued, not its sales, even though those weren't great, but its chance to be Bungie's next thing. How about that? Marathon doesn't appear by any way, shape, or form, sales, talk, game, players, whatever, to be Bungie's next thing, and I think it would have been nice if it was. It'd be nice to not be talking about Bungie next year, man. It'd be really nice. It'd be really nice, because there's few things in the world that is less interesting than Bungie, and there's few things in the world that like feel like they should fix themselves but aren't able to do it. So we keep... Yeah. Since I started the podcast, I feel like Bungie has been on every single month. There's been something about Bungie, and it almost was never Halo, because it was after that. It's almost always been bad stuff. I mean, originally it was about Destiny doing really well, but then it started, it's like once they got success, they started having issues pretty quickly. And then the big cut, remember that, where they cut story out? That sort of started the big arc, the big slide of success for them.
Yeah, I almost feel like they might be pulled into other teams if Marathon doesn't really pan out. Instead of having a next big project, they might kind of integrate into other stuff.
Agreed. I'm gonna play Mixtape on Game Pass, even though reviews are strong. Yeah, what was Mixtape? 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours? That's great. I don't know what the cost is, but I still think that's great for that kind of game. No. That's not what I was saying. Sorry, I was saying that's great that it's a different style of length, because we get a lot of games that are like, this game is... We don't get many 3 unless it's a episodic. So to see one that's just like, hey, here's a 3 or 4 hour game, and we hope you like it at a blank price. I sort of dig that. Even if it turns out to be a failure, you now know what a failure in that area looks like. If you're a game dev, you can aim away from it next time. But
and those are the good Game Pass games as well. You can jump into, even if you don't know whether it's for you, you can have a crack.
What else we got?
Well, funny enough, Selim here was saying excited to play Mixtape. Do you have a favorite game, soundtrack licensed or not? We have talked about this, but is there like a top of mind? Like maybe something you've been listening to recently? Any like game OSTs you've been banging out?
No, actually. No, there hasn't even been... There hasn't even been something that
Nothing?
I've been... No, not even in a bad way. It's just, for whatever reason, my music tastes aren't on that right now either. You know?
I've been listening to a lot of synthwave edits of OSTs. So you have like...
Of OSTs.
Like, Chrono Trigger, but synthwave, or like Final Fantasy, but cyberpunk, this type of stuff.
Right.
I really enjoyed those because they're familiar, but they got a cool spin. And synthwave, I think, is great for focusing on stuff. It doesn't really distract. But I've also been listening to the Stellar Blade OST a lot for reading, because it's not like they're not really speaking words a lot of the time, weirdly. They're kind of like mumbling stuff. And it's so great because then my brain is not trying to process words, but it's super melodic, super musical. There's like some jazzy stuff in there. I love the vibe. And to kind of sit back and read a bit with that, it's been awesome.
Anything else?
No, that's been it, really, recently.
What else do you have? Any cool news?
We talked about the Switch 2 price hike, right? That's going to be like September.
Yeah.
I saw a post about a Crimson Desert dev explaining how they're able to update the game so fast. I don't know if you saw this. the kind of the summary of it was because the game had the bones of an MMO and the team is so used to developing for MMOs, they are kind of uniquely prepared to respond very quickly to feedback. And part of the reason they didn't have a roadmap was because they wanted to be reactive to what people were requesting and this type of stuff. I wanted to hear your take because we thought for sure they had some stuff prepared on what they expected to be feedback from people, or might be stuff that, you know, people would request. It does seem like they were very fast with some of these. Does this kind of pass the sniff test for you?
Well, they are talking about public roadmap. They definitely had stuff planned for afterwards because we literally saw it. So I can't speak for, but I mean, it sounds like what they're talking about is like, we're going to do a suit of armor on Monday. We're going to do blah, blah, blah. That wasn't there. But they definitely were talking about patches and stuff they were planning, and many of them were our complaints during the review. But yeah, that's the exact same thing I said in I can't remember when it was, but the podcast after the game came out was that, yeah, they're MMO devs. They're accustomed to doing patches in a particular way, and the game isn't contained. One of the nice things about Crimson Desert is it's not like you're in a small spot and every single system feeds into every other system, and it's super difficult to do. It really is Black Desert ×2 with some of their own stuff in there. So if they want to double the health from food, it may just be an easier thing for them to double the health for food. So
yeah,
there's
like
really
stamina
nothing
for the jump. You know, these quick fixes.
That's weird that a dev would say that, because that doesn't even sound like a dev's language. Like that doesn't sound. They said a dev said that? Because that doesn't even sound like the words a dev would use. That sounds like a words the publisher would use. Because a dev wouldn't.
Yeah, he said, "quote We're not onerous about if an idea didn't come from us, then it can't be in the game." I think that's still quoting him. I think that's something that other companies are too ego driven a lot of the time to be able to accept other people's ideas. It's almost Silicon Valley-esque. A good idea can come from anywhere.
Now, that doesn't sound like a dev would have said that. That sounds like a publisher or who said
like
that?
PR.
Yeah. Do they have the person? Did they have the dev's name who said that? That doesn't even sound like what a dev.
Surname is Power. Try to dig up
Powers.
No.
Will Powers.
No, just Power singular. Yeah.
Will Powers.
It is. No, you're right. It is PR. Sorry,
it's PR.
Pearl Abyss PR and marketing director Will Powers.
Okay.
You are right.
Okay, man, dude. I'm telling you, I have a sniff test for who says what, and I was like, there's no chance that the dev said
this is an IGN article, by the way. But it's very deceiving. The title literally says Crimson Desert Dev explains how it's able to update the game so fast. And then in the body, it's not a dev. It's literally the PR marketing director.
PR are not devs.
They got me. Yeah. They got me.
I mean, unless we want to say that any dev who randomly tweets their Twitter can then just say they're also PR. And you could say that technically,
or any member of the team tangentially
you could
is
say
a dev.
But you wouldn't. Yeah. Every developer I've talked to definitely wouldn't say that PR was dev. That wouldn't even make logistic sense. That's more of an inclusion thing to make everybody feel hunky-dory, but you wouldn't want a PR person like answering dev questions that were in depth. Because, and by the way, it would be the same as me. If I was trying to answer questions at my old job that I may have a certain amount of data about the job, but when you start getting into idiosyncrasies of game development, like, you know, how do you guys handle trash collection? Now, if your PR person can answer that off the cuff or answer like 50, give me 50 questions. If that person can handle those 50 questions, we're in pretty good shape. But yeah, no, that sounded like PR. Like I said, I have a really good sniff test for.
Yeah, good catch there.
Yeah, I was like, ain't no thing that does not sound like what a dev would say. There's certain things that a dev would, there's certain things that a dev would say. Also, a Korean dev dropping onerous is the equivalent of me dropping a super in-depth mythical name of a Korean deity while translated into Korean from English. There's
Right.
the moment you hear it, you're just like, what?
Good catch. You've talked to enough devs to know.
Yeah. Gonna give Mixtape a go. A bunch of people talking about that. What else do we got? Oh, by the way, that was about the patch. No, it's good. I'm glad they're continuing to patch. That's what should happen. That was my last word. Was like, I'm just glad that they are putting stuff in the game. Seems like they've done a good job. People are happy, and he's done a good job. I've only dealt with him a couple times. Super nice guy. He's done a good job dealing with the feedback, because there was negative feedback the first couple of days with some difficulties, and stuff like that. They've done a good job.
It's been good.
Yeah, and my hope is, I don't really want to see any more games like that, weirdly enough. I liked it. What I mean by that is, I don't want to see that become its own genre. Like,
Sure.
what would you call it? Sprawl questing? Sprawl questing, mini-maxing, boss runish, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to see that, but it gives developers another cue towards what they want to make, how they want their game to feel. And the big exploration run for hours feel is unique to that game, and they did a great job.
Yeah. I'll probably never play it again. And that, I know that sounds harsh, but I'm okay with that. I'm embracing the opposite of FOMO. I'm like the eager to miss out.
Yeah, I'll never play it again. Great time when I did it, or pretty good time. But a lot of games I don't return to. It really has nothing to do with Crimson Desert. I mean, there's a ton of games that I'm like, I really enjoyed that. Would I return to it? No.
Yeah, like, it's just like food, once you had a burrito, do you need to have another one? Maybe.
No.
But no.
Just no. What did I tell you that one day we were talking when I said that would be like having 3 favorite Chinese food restaurants?
Yeah.
Like, why? What does that even mean? What is that? It doesn't mean
you don't need a second.
Yeah, it's like, it would
great
make no
Chinese
fucking sense.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Good, we covered that. This survey was talking about people leaving the dev industry. So developers wanting to leave the dev industry due to all the mass layoffs that have happened. So what they did is they collected data from 1,000 video game professionals, like industry professionals, video game industry, and they were asking about salary, satisfaction, and stuff like that. And apparently 44% of the respondents were looking to leave the games industry because of the layoffs.
Yeah. I don't think it's even just the layoffs. It's everything combined. Negativity, layoffs, game, how the business is done, like investment into games, everything. Yeah,
we always say, tough industry. To get into, to continue to be in, and to want a future in. All of those. Yeah. 44% though. I know it's not a big number, like 1,000 people. You could kind of, get a lot of variance in there. But I feel like 44 is significant enough that, it's a big signal.
Yeah, if there were 44 given out, so how you handle a study normally, so you would have to make sure there was no pre-filters on the study of 1,000 people, meaning you couldn't do it in an event. So you couldn't go to GDC and do it.
Oh,
you could, but you would have to understand that the people there are going to be people who would be invited there, which means they have to be on a list in a certain tier, or they would have to know about being there. So
selecting already.
Yeah. If you go to a Chinese food place and you say, "How's the chicken?" It's going to be a really fucking weird.
People love chicken. They're going
yeah. So you have to know where your filter's coming from. But if it's 1,000 who, let's say, showed up, and a developer can still be a dev prior to releasing a game, but they'll be on no data anywhere. You won't see their names or anything because they haven't done it. So I don't know where these came from, but I still think 40 is probably accurate. It definitely feels accurate to what I'm hearing. And what's weird is, what is crazier is it's not the bigger companies I'm hearing that from. It's actually a lot of the people in the space that you would say where money is required via investment, personal money that's required, or Those are the two that I'm definitely hearing. Couple dozen indie devs that I know have stopped making their game recently. Games, yeah. Well, they called indie. They weren't. That was how I got to know them, because they were like coming at me here for me saying like what indie is, and then once I talked to them, I'm like, oh no, actually now I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't matter anyway because we're leaving. And they evaporated. They were just couldn't handle it. Nothing against them, by the way. Like, they were working hard. It's just getting a game made, man. It's like, remember when for years, now it's a little easier, but for years there were no independent movies. There's still some issue making them, but you've still got some companies that are independent, but you have sort of a way, but it's nowhere near what it used to be, where an independent movie was possible pretty easily, and now that's gone. You know, there's just not enough money to get over the hump of investment for indie. Remember when you used to be able to start a YouTube channel and, you know, people would even tell you, dude, I remember seeing people say, it doesn't even matter how good your quality is. You just got to be consistent with it. And I'm like, God damn, seriously? We're setting everybody up for that? Like, that sounded like something you would say to your friend to set them up for a bad day. But now it's like you have to be on top of things. You have to be like, Dude, there's companies that contact me all the time willing to give me cash for a back end on videos so that I can get whatever I need or go on trips. They're like, hey, man, we'll give you like $100,000 and you can get a YouTube Red, or not a YouTube Red, sorry, but a Red, the Red cameras, I can't remember the company, the Black Magic or whatever, Red cameras. And I remember I was like, you guys do know who I am, right? And they're like, yeah, you're ACG. And I'm like, so you know I don't go anywhere or care about that or do anything sponsored, right? Never got a response. But I was like, you could tell they were just sending random emails out. I was like, dude, I'm the wrong guy to talk to. Like, I'm not going to care about any of that. But it was crazy. They were offering, and they're a real company. I did check. They've definitely worked with some people that I've even worked with, YouTuber wise, where they've been able to get 20 grand to start out a studio, you know, get a nice camera, whatever. And then if they do well, the company takes, you know, a percentage from videos. But I'm telling you right now, dude, how does that even pan out right now with so many YouTube? I mean, and making 20 grand on YouTube and then making enough on YouTube that you could basically give out 20 grand to a company to pay them back. Like, I don't know. Seems like they're really, really, really thinking like everybody's going to see success. I wonder if they force you to do shit though, like drama stuff. You know, I wonder if they like we'll put you in charge. We'll give you all this cash, right? And you can make whatever you want, dude. You can make whatever you want. We don't want to interfere with your spirit.
But throw some drama. Drama in.
But we're gonna have this PR guy who calls himself a dev come over to your house, and he'll just talk to you about things you could do in the future. He's not a manager, man. He'll manage some of your stuff, and he's not a producer, but he'll produce some shit. And he'll control everything that you want to make in the future. But I mean, he won't control anything. Yeah. Can he just come over?
Great.
If you sign here, we'll send him. But don't worry, man. That paperwork, it's not binding. If you're unhappy, you can always quit 1.2 seconds after you sign. The ability to quit ends. But go ahead, sign it. Yeah.
Boy, that would work well. I'm imagining someone over your shoulder and he's like, Carrick, can we run that part again? But like throw a bit more drama in there. Yeah, great.
AAA development doesn't seem appealing right now due to the lack of job security. I mean, dude, AAA. I don't know. What do you think of that? I think it's by far the most, because it quite literally, even if they have layoffs, it is the place giving you a check and actually health and life insurance without having to pay off the side. Like,
probably.
I mean, it's just like everybody I talk to is like, no, even if we know it may go bad at some point, it's better than being at a smaller company and doing all that shit and still not knowing if it's going to go bad at some point. Feels like
I mean, put it this way. If you're at Ubisoft, you have pretty high confidence that it's not like just going
even
under,
with their layoffs. You have exactly, because you'll get reconstruction, not layoffs. I've worked through HP's reconstruction that was probably 10 to 15 years in total of reconstruction. That's how long it took. And I remember there's a massive amount of job security there versus just working on the street and hoping that if you wash somebody with some soap, he'll give you a dollar. Like, there's a huge difference, because at least they were there. Even if you did have to worry, you still could, you had a chance to move somewhere. You had it, there were ways and there were mediations a lot of times. We did, just like most of these companies do, they'll give you like, I guess what you would say contacts within the industry that you wouldn't get if you were just laid off one day. But yeah, I don't know. Sucks no matter what. I don't know why. Everything seems to be a comparison anymore. It's like, who cares? It just sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks to get laid off. Been laid off from very few companies, but I can tell you I only need to have it happen once to go, well, that is a shitter.
You know what's tricky too? Because you would assume that let's say, bad people are being laid off or the bad apples. But that's not the case, actually. Even in my company, we've had this where we've lost some really good people to layoffs. And it was simply due to circumstance because their role maybe wasn't as critical or like the product they were on was something that they could kind of cut back on.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with them. They were great in the role,
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it's sad too, because especially like, luckily because I do sort of try to ask them questions. I get to, talk to people who do work at the major companies, talk to people who do, this is their first day or whatever. And I just think that until you do, there is a massive lack of information or understanding of what goes on other than your typical social signal like news article. And it's like once you start talking to people, for example, you might ask a question, why would you stay at Activision? Right? I think that's a valid question. Let's say, okay, this came up last time. Why are these guys staying at Activision? They must hate working on Call of Duty. Legitimately, of the 20 or so random people I've talked to who worked on Call of Duty, 2 disliked it. 2 out of 18. There is a higher success rate there than any job I've ever worked at. So if I went to my old job and said, how many of you like doing what you're doing? Johnny, it would be 2 out of 18 if I was lucky, if not 0. And it's crazy. It's just like, dude, you guys need to actually talk to some of these people before you just come up with like random things. Because especially, being in the creative part, I think people forget that like there is a magic there. Even if you're creative in a place that you're still making games, man. It's worse being a database administrator and you think you're going to help new companies with inventories and instead you're working at a big company inventorying paint, and you have to read about cerulean blue for fucking 18 hours of your day and sort crimson versus, puce. Like that right there. That makes me want to die even saying it out loud. Like, Jesus, that would be a horrifying job. Paint database administrator. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah. Paint database administrator. That's a job right there that be like, I'm not sticking around. Carrot, can you please drop that? This is, by the way, he's not saying this. This is a joke because of what I said about the company or about a manager. Carrot, can you please drop that Johnny guy? He's cringe and good for our product. I don't even know if there's
not good for the brand.
Not good for the brand. Dude, I will have people. We have great fans, like for the most part, but you will get somebody who gets so irate about something that's so small. And a couple weeks ago, we had somebody who was really mad. They were really mad that a review had come out when a game was buggy. I'm going to use an example because I don't remember the game, but let's say Hunter Simulator, which they did the patch. The patch came out. It was worse than the original game, and I had to go back and review it. But they were saying something like, oh my God, I can't believe this review, blah, blah, blah. And it was, 5-6 months later, blah, blah, blah. But they were so mad that I found that they had posted like 28 times on various YouTube channels. And I was just like, damn. He's a paint database administrator for sure.
Yeah.
That guy has spent most of his day sorting between puce and salmon, cerulean. And he's probably next in line to be on the news. I'm just saying that would be that's a person who's having a hard day right there. What else we got? I gotta stretch my back. If you can code a game, you can make more money coding something else. Nope. I think it was true. I think he's absolutely right if we said 6 months ago, maybe 8. But I think that what we're seeing now, especially with the new augmented assistant CLIs, the command line interfaces, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this dog in. Can you fucking continue this? Let's talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the devil's in the details, because if you are Bush guy, you're a dev, right? And you may call yourself a game developer, but do you really know much about coding? Like, a lot of your skill set is around making some really good looking bushes. And like, how much of that is going to be transferable to other industries, you know? I mean, in that space, you can always reinvent yourself and say, screw it. I'm just gonna study Python for 2 months and I'll become a Python developer. And a lot of the stuff that you've learned is, at least the mindset of it is transferable, or like the pseudocode level. But there are certain like dev types, game devs, that are highly coupled with, for example, the game engine. So they know how to do a lot of stuff in Unreal Engine, but if you take them out of that and away from the blueprints and a lot of those things, they can't really do something from scratch, and let alone code in a different context that much. Now, with all the help you have from like Carrick was saying, from AIs and stuff, you can probably get into something different much more easily, and definitely vibe code your way into stuff. So it's possible. But I wouldn't say it's maybe as easy, depending on the role. Eternal says, as cringe and Lex Luthor looking as he may be, Johnny is the only co-host who reliably shows up weekly. True. Whether for good or bad, I am here, like that cyst or like that herpes that Carrick was referring to. Did forget about AI. A lot of jobs are going. I don't know if jobs are going so much as they are changing, and like the day-to-day is changing a lot, for sure. But I still view it as a, very good field. Someone who's in it, I'm not worried about my job going away, basically. But it is changing very quickly. The number of jobs is probably a huge obstacle. The job market is terrible right now. That is true. The market is tough. The industry overall is tough, especially I think for gaming. It's been very rough.
I love the one about you being as cringe and Lex Luthor, and you're the only show host who is the permanent show host. So you got a kudo for doing what you should be doing anyway. That's the way life should be. That's the way it should be.
That's like tipping your delivery guy.
Yeah, sorry. What were you saying? I had to yell at the dog. What were you saying?
I was saying that's like tipping your delivery guy because they did their job.
Yeah. Yeah. I still do.
Do you?
I do. Yeah. I tip them. I tip them because, dude, I respect. I just don't trust the companies anymore. Well, I never did. Like, this isn't something magic. The companies just magically were, filled with bad people. When there's more than one hand between my dollar and the person, I start to get nervous. So if I'm paying you for something, like I pay you through PayPal, right? If I pay you through PayPal, that's fine. But let's say you had PayPal, and let's say you lived in a place that didn't. So maybe it was Bitcoin. I wouldn't be nearly as comfortable because there's just too many steps between my money and your money and the translations across them. So yeah, I definitely give money I give a little extra because, company will be like, oh yeah, we got database coverage costs of like $3. I'll just be like, whatever. So I try to give. I'm not the greatest all the time, but yeah, I try to give some.
I try to at least be very nice to them because I feel a lot of gratitude. Like, dude, you actually delivered this. You didn't just toss it like some other delivery people, or you just like leave something behind a rubbish bin. It's like delivered. Fuck, it is. You know?
Anything else we got?
Like, dude, the other day, I had someone delivering a package, and first of all, they didn't ring at all because I was home. They did not ring, right? They didn't even attempt to like ring it. But because my balcony, I can see the outside, right? I'm like ground floor. I see the outside. I'm sitting on the balcony and I see this motherfucker, right? He approaches my door. He doesn't ring. He doesn't ring my whatever. He simply looks and says, okay, turns around, leaves my package behind one of our dumpster, bins.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got headphones, so he doesn't answer when I call out. So he just leaves it there. And it said, like, then I see in the app delivered. Fuck off. So yeah, I do have gratitude, when people do a good job with that stuff.
Oh man, what else we got? I'm gonna probably have to go here in a second. My dog. The reason why it took me longer, my dog ran to the fence, so I was just like, I'm gonna get him, and he did the thing where he laid down, and I was frustrated, so I picked him up and fucked up my back completely. So now it's like twice as bad as it was. I've already taken one. I'm not gonna take a ton of pain meds, so I just took aspirin, but it's not doing anything. What else?
One last fun one.
Yeah,
I wanted to run by you. I saw Andy Serkis was talking about acting in games. So he said, on one hand, Hollywood is using video game engines already, so there's some crossover.
Yeah,
but he never viewed acting in movies and video games very differently. They kind of view, he kind of viewed both as the same thing. And I thought it was interesting because he's been one of the best like mocap actors in movies. Gollum, obviously, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's been great in some games too. So it's kind of cool to see his perspective on it. I hadn't thought, for you, like, do you view it differently? Like when we see Keanu in Cyberpunk versus him in a movie, do you feel like his acting is different?
Yeah.
Because it's a different medium?
Yeah. But it's still the same skill. It's just some people are better to watch a person who does TV shows. They'll go to a movie and suck. Some people do movies. They're amazing actors. They try a TV show and suck. So games, just different format, different people directing you, different style of doing it. But he's right. Yeah, there's not much of a difference in the idea of that your instruction might be somewhat the same. You are a fake person in a fake world pretending to do fake things fake-ally. That's your... Yeah. Ultimately, that's it. But I also think he's talking from a position, it's almost like talking down to everybody, not in a bad way, but from a position of knowledge that he probably doesn't remember he's gleaned. Since he's been the leader of that due to Lord of the Rings, which Lord of the Rings' entire way of filming is identical to your Uncharted or identical to whatever. What he's talking about is not the same thing that a lot of actors think when they see like rigs or they see old style of filming stuff where it was FMV. So most actors you talk to, when you say you're going to be in a game, they think FMV. Why would they not? FMV is film. So they think it's a choose your own adventure, so they turn it down right away. And this has been brought up by 1,001 actors. They bring it up all the time. They're like, they have no clue that that's a real person. Most of them think that the character, like Johnny Silverhand, there's no mocapping below it. They think it's just an animator because the only comparisons they have are movies and animated cartoons.
Yeah.
So it's not going to match up with them. But yeah, he's right. Yeah, they're pretty close. And we get some... I mean, I don't know. I didn't think Keanu was very good. But I don't think Keanu is very good.
Really? I'm a little shocked.
I'm talking about in Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Keanu's the greatest actor in the world. He's pretty wooden, which is why John Wick works. I think Johnny had a couple moments of outbursts that didn't work well because Keanu... Have you ever heard Keanu scream in a movie? He's like, whoa! Whoa!
I don't know if I have. It's
dude,
funny.
Watch him in Speed, man. Like, get under the bus. He just doesn't even have the throat. And watch somebody, doesn't have the throat, sounded really weird. But if you watch somebody scream in real life and then fake scream, you can tell a mile away. Watch somebody fake scream and watch somebody really scream. It has to do with like the movement, the body, the larynx, the chest. And you can hear it in the sound. You can hear it in the actual output. Keanu, great. Loved him. Like, I didn't even mind that character in it. But yeah, there were times where I was like, he's pretty wooden,
Pretty wooden.
Yeah, but still,
I can see that.
Super happy he was in there because he helped You know, he's in
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
Admittedly, I think we were more excited than other actors were, assuming that meant that the inroads to the next $1 million was a game. Meaning, we thought it was a big deal. But I'm pretty sure most movie stars weren't like, oh my God, Keanu's saying,
I think that
"Whoa,"
now,
in
maybe
Cyberpunk.
as a result of those, big hits, Hollywood actors start to view it more as a serious.
It could be, but
career
look at what happens on YouTube Shorts. Look at Helmsworth. Look at all these guys. Every single time they're asked about doing a superhero movie, a video game, what have you, what did they say every time? I asked a friend, or I asked my son, or I asked my daughter. So at currently, it doesn't seem to be other than money, meaning there's good money to be made now. Because remember, FMV is fast. You're not like having somebody mocap. You're basically hitting, sort of record, and you get to choose it. Yeah. So with these now, I mean, every dude just recently on YouTube, there must have been 60 of these in a couple days time I watched, because I love these kind of videos. Be like, yeah, so whatever made you be Thor, whatever made you be Johnny Silverhand, or whatever made you be this, the majority of them all say the same thing. There'll be one or two that like games, very low. Many will be like Cox, who will be like, I'll do anything. The guy from Expedition 33, where he's like, it looked interesting, blah, 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 but then has no clue what a game is afterwards and admits it, which I thought was hilarious. And then the rest are like, yeah, I had to ask a family member. I had to ask my son or daughter, like, should I do this? And the son or daughter is usually like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Of course you should do it. But you and I've had the same problem. It's basically, if you think about it, video gaming is like the Roblox to the rest of us, where we didn't know Roblox had deathmatch, racing, rally, fucking blah, 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 blah. But it's even in our bailiwick. It's something we should technically know. But how would you know you need to know it if you were never told you need to know it, and it's in a section of area that you don't know? Right? Like, you would literally, that's an invisible fucking wall that you could crash into, but there's no need for us to have known that. And I think with actors, they know TV shows, commercials, movies. And I think now you would say series are different than TV. I think that's fair to say. Like your Netflix, your Tubi, those guys. Tubi's another one. Dude, these small streamers, they're doing their own shows, and they may not be huge. They may not be like Kaleidoscope or whatever on Netflix.
Yeah, but independent shows.
Yeah, and they're like, they keep a person who maybe is accustomed to 100,000 to 400,000 a year living. They keep them comfortable, as in the income is somewhat commensurate. And I found out Tubi has some originals that just surprised me that people were in. I mean, well, the Hallmark Channel, I think, is probably the starting of everything. Because the Hallmark Channel, once they really got into streaming, dude, there's a bunch of people who don't do nothing but Hallmark stuff, ever. They just entire actors and actresses who show up, and you're like, dude, I haven't seen this guy in this movie. It's like, why would I ever go and do that when I can have them who have a body of my work come to me and say, we would love to make you more comfortable today than you were yesterday and still have a good time and feel good about yourself. That's a fucking hard way. Dude, can you imagine that? I mean, some people say they like to challenge themselves. How many people, Johnny? How many people do you think out there? Give me the honest truth. How many people do you think out there out of 10 when you hear them say something like, I love to challenge myself, I love to be uncomfortable? How many people out of 10 who say that? 1, 2?
Yeah, they might say it, right? But I think when
the chips are
rubber
down,
hits the road,
yeah, right,
yeah, you're staying at your job.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Zone.
How many times have you had a friend who's like, I'm so cool, man, I tell anybody anything, I'll fucking do anything, blah blah blah, and you're like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm a database fucking paint administrator. And you're like, how long you been there? 12 years. And you're like, do you like it? Nah, I fucking hate it. You're like, dude, then what are you saying? Like, you're lying about one of those two things. Either you love it inherently, or you dislike it, and you would be fired because you know most places you can't talk back to your boss the entire time. Yeah, I love that kind of shit, man. I love that. There's always something funny about like the idea of somebody just having a job they're comfortable with and love. And I never watch them. I don't even know what they're like. But like a Hallmark Channel, I know what that is, because Hallmark are the cards, the love cards, I love that we had anal sex yesterday. I hope we do it again on our anniversary. I don't know what they say, but they say something in there that's like lovey. That doesn't sound lovey, but you know what I mean? They say something in there that's lovey, and they have an entire channel, and the idea of like being able to just act in those would be sweet.
If that's your thing.
If that's your thing. And then you go off on your other, your 3 months or whatever that you're not filming that show, and, you make your more risky stuff if that's what you, or dude, just go fucking water tubing. I'm like, I don't know. It'd be sort of hard if you were getting everything paid for and you were working, let's say 9 months out of the year, and then 3 months out of the year, if you could just live and just gel in your house and do nothing, it'd be hard to like want to get up and do. Would you? If you had 9,
it would be tough.
It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh God, I mentioned Keanu and everybody's talking about Keanu. I think Keanu Constantine. I'm trying to think of what Keanu's been good in.
Yeah, he always kind of plays Keanu, doesn't he? Actually.
And that's why
I mean, he's good.
When he chooses a good movie, Johnny, it works out. When he chooses a movie that fits him, you're like, dude, I'm telling you straight up, Johnny Utah, bank robbers,
the surfer
Patrick
one?
Swayze, yeah, Point Break fit him, man. Yeah, he's like,
Great.
on some gnarly rides. Like, it's just everything about
or the
that.
lawyer one with Al Pacino.
Oh yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah.
The Deal with the Devil, I think, or something with the devil.
Devil's Advocate is what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to wrap this fucking thing up? Because my back is killing me. I got to go and figure out what the hell is going on. You're streaming tomorrow. What are you doing? What game?
Stream tomorrow. I think we're just doing some community day. We do a bit of League, a bit of SnowRunner.
A bit of League, a bit of LOL, and a bit of SnowRunner. All right, everybody. You'll see some videos from me next week. I hope you guys all have an excellent weekend. Enjoy yourself.